just love and grace for everyone, for everyone. Yeah, for everyone.
I feel the nations of the earth are shaken. There is no power that can match His grace. Lift up your head, lift up your eyes to see. All of creation is waiting and longing for sons and daughters to declare this truth. Lift up your head, lift up your voice to sing. He is the light shining in the darkness. He is the hope of all nations. He is the light for all the world to see. He is the light shining in the darkness. He is the hope of all nations. He is the light for all the world to see.
I feel the faith across the earth is rising. We prophesize about His kingdom come, just like heaven, all across the earth.
He is the light shining in the darkness. He is the hope of all nations. He is the light for all the world to see.
Great is the Lord. Praise His name. Praise His name. Great is the Lord. Praise His name. Praise His name. He is the light shining in the darkness. He is the hope of all nations. He is the light for all the world to see. He is the light shining in the darkness. He is the hope of all nations. He is the light for all the world to see. He is the light shining in the darkness. He is the hope of all nations. He is the light for all the world to see.
Hello, children. I'm so glad that you're here today as part of our Wave service. And I know that it's a lot more fun when everyone is all together here in the auditorium and we have activities and we have projects to do. But there's some things that are still the same, even when we're joining with each other on television and on Facebook and on YouTube. One of those things that's always the same is God's love. When I was a kid, I learned a song, and it said that God had the whole world in God's hands. And it reminded me that just like I could play with a little ball, that God was so strong and so present that God could hold each one of us and keep us safe. One of the lines in the song is that He's got you and me, brother and sister, and that he's got all the little babies. And for some reason, it made me really happy to think that God had all the little babies in God's hands. Today, we're thinking about the song, Look Up, Child. And one of the ways that we know that God has us right in the palm of God's hands is all the signs of hope that we see around us. And whether it's a beautiful spring day or spending time with family, there are lots of ways that we're all still feeling a ton of hope and seeing signs of God's love. So I asked some kids if they would share things that make them feel hopeful or see God's love around them. Let's go ahead and check those out.
Our cats bring us hope.
What makes me feel hopeful is helping other people. What makes me feel hopeful is helping other people.
I did this picture with pastels for art class. It represents a lightning flash in a storm. The lightning is like God's hope in the darkness. Jesus promises to be our light, our hope in tough times like these.
God in my friends and family and in my dog Miles.
My dog gives me hope.
It has given me hope to think about all of the people who are helping others during this tough time. I did this picture with colored pencils for art class. It is a thank you to the rescue workers who have been so brave.
So usually here in the auditorium, we would have a different project set up, like making a hygiene kit or putting together sock and underwear bundles. And we can't be together today. So what I thought we could do is we could all take a minute later on after you're done with this broadcast, or for kids even right now, and to take a picture of something that makes you feel hopeful. It could be a picture of your dining room table, or it could be beautiful flowers, or it could be one of your pets. And if you could just write what makes you feel hopeful. So you can write, this picture makes me feel hopeful because. If you can send those to info@centralpres.org, we will gather all of your pictures and we will deliver them to our local nursing homes. So again, you'll take a picture of something that makes you feel hopeful, you'll write a few sentences about why that makes you feel hopeful, and you'll email them to us, and we will take them to the nursing homes in our area. So I hope that that's one way that you can not only see God's hope, but also share it and spread it with others. Let's go ahead and pray. Loving and gracious God, thank you so much for the gifts of hope. Thank you so much for making your presence known to us, even when we aren't together, even when we're separated, that we can feel so close to you and so close to each other. We are grateful to be able to bring this hope to others too. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
Where are you now when darkness seems to win? Where are you now when the world is crumbling? Oh, I hear you say, look up, child. Hey, look up, child.
You know, at the near the end of every gospel, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Jesus is reported as giving this major speech in which he talks about the times to come. And Jesus is pretty realistic about the times to come. They're not going to be always the greatest. They're not going to be always the happiest. There's going to be trouble, Jesus predicts, in the times to come. I'm going to read a passage from the Gospel of Luke, which is in one of these presentations that Jesus gives. It's in Luke chapter 21. Jesus said, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on the earth distress among nations, confused by the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will faint from fear and foreboding of what is coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now when these things begin to take place, stand up and raise your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." What Jesus was telling people, what Jesus was saying to you and me, was that sometimes things get really dark. Sometimes it feels like the world is crumbling apart. And it's at those very moments when that's happening that Jesus tells us that we need to stand up and we need to take a look around, that we need to look up. Because when we do that, in the midst of those terrible times, we end up seeing our redemption drawing near. That is, we end up seeing God at work. That's true, I think, even in these times. I mean, they're scary times. And it feels sometimes like the darkness is winning. And it feels sometimes like the very world is crumbling apart around us. But if we stand up, if we look up, the potential is there for us to see what God is doing, the good that God is doing. We can see redemption drawing near. That is, Christ drawing near. I wonder, when you look around at the world today, what you might see that's good, that's beautiful, that's kind. I mean, it's clear all the darkness, but what of God do you see in the world around us? What of Christ? I've asked several people to share their ideas, their thoughts about what they've seen, and we're going to hear from them right now.
The COVID-19 crisis has hit New York City particularly hard, and because of that, it reminds me of 9/11. I remember during 9/11, I had just moved from the Midwest to New York City, and I was overcome with fear and panic. I clung to my faith. I ran to the arms of Jesus, for they provided a stronghold of hope that I couldn't find anyplace else. And I decided then that I wanted to give my life to that hope as a pastor. And now, as a pastor in the pandemic, I believe that faith offers us that same opportunity to find hope through Jesus. But it also provides us with a choice. Are we going to allow the fear and the panic of the moment to cause us to fixate upon what we've given up, what we've lost in this time? Or are we going to use this time as a time that God can prune us? That God can strip away all that was distracting or keeping us away from the most important things in our life. And through that, find something that's redeeming, even now. A perfect example of that I've experienced from my life is at night. I look forward to the time where I rock our 1-year-old baby to sleep just a little bit longer in this crisis. I don't have the after-school activities of his older brothers pulling me away, and instead I can feel his weight in my arms. I can listen to his coos, and I can drink in the goodness of God. Friends, there is goodness of God in your life right now too. Psalm 46 begins, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. God is alive. God is at work. God is here. Whether it's through the coos of a baby or through the hope that can spring up inside your very heart, even now, through Jesus.
Hi, my name is Nonie McPherson, and I'd like to share a way that I've seen God at work during this time of staying at home. But before I share that story, I would like to thank all the first responders and the doctors and the nurses who are working so hard. We hope you and your families stay safe and well. So my story starts with a text from my future daughter-in-law's mother. Her name is Vanessa. She sends me a text with a picture of different fabrics and says she's making face masks and would we be interested, and if so, what colors? So I thought, oh, this is great. Text her back, tell me more about these masks, how you make them. She responds, oh, I fold the fabric, I put the rubber bands on and use a sewing machine to sew the edges, and then says, oh, by the way, I just made 100 of these masks for the mother and baby unit at Overlook Hospital in Summit. And I thought, oh, this is so wonderful, how generous of her to do this for all the new mothers and their babies. And it just reminded, and let me show you actually what one of these looks like. So this is my daughter's Kate's mask. It's a beautiful shade of blue. The fabric is very soft. And she wears this whenever she goes out now. And it just made me realize that here I was seeing a mask as something that was really a symbol of the crisis. And now when I look at this mask, I see it as a symbol of an act of love and kindness. So that is my story. I hope you and your family stay well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pam Robertson. I wanted to talk a little bit about where I've seen God at work in the last 2 months. And I've seen God at work in very big ways in our community, and I'm sure you have too. You know, people that have always stepped up and done a lot of great things that we hear about. But I wanted to talk about God in the teeniest, tiniest little things. And there's a great story in the neighborhood where an elderly woman who lives alone, another neighbor that she doesn't know, has been doing her grocery shopping, and they've also been cutting her grass for her. And every time they cut her grass and when they're finished, she opens the front door and she yells out to them, "I love you." And they yell back, "I love you too." And I just thought that that was so beautiful because it's such a teeny tiny little thing. But I believe that she's pouring out God's love to her neighbors in that gesture, and they're receiving it and sending back to her. So I think that that if you take the image of a mosaic and you have all those tiny little pieces of glass, alone, they really don't look like much. But when we put it all together, it makes this beautiful image. And I think that that's what's happening when we do these tiny little things that we think are not important or not big enough, that when we all do them, when they're all put together, that we are the very eyes and workers for God in the world. And so I have loved witnessing that. And so next time you see somebody and you haven't seen them in a long time, yell, "I love you," and try that out.
Those are incredible stories. And I encourage you to think about your own. The good things you see happening in the world around us. In the midst of this darkness, there are people who are doing wonderful things. There is light that's shining. God is at work. I know it's dark, but we need to look up. Where are you now when the darkness seems to win? Where are you now when the world is crumbling? Oh, I hear you say, "Look up, child." In the week to come, I hope that you'll have the opportunity to look up and to see where God is at work. Because when you do, it can give you the confidence that the darkness will pass and the sun will rise, and there will be a new day. And in that new day, there will be almost a new world reborn. God bless you.
Every secret, every shame, every fear, every pain, live inside the dark, but that's not who we are. We're children of the day. So wake up, sleep, but lift your head. We were meant for more than this. Fight the shadows, conquer death. Make the most of the time we have left. We are the light of the world. We are a city on a hill. We are the light of the world. We gotta let the light shine. We are the light of the world. We are a city on a hill. We are the light of the world. We gotta let the light shine. Let the light shine, let the light shine. We are called to spread the news, to tell the world the simple truth. Jesus came to save. There's freedom in his name. So let it all break through. We are the light of the world. We are a city on a hill. We are the light of the world. We gotta let the light shine. We are the light of the world. We are a city on a hill. We are the light of the world. We gotta let the light shine. Let the light shine, let the light shine. Let the light shine, let the light shine.
Hi, I'm Reverend Deborah Huggins, Associate Pastor here at Central Pres, and I just wanted to highlight a couple of ways that you can help out. We are so blessed to live in such a generous and caring community, and we all know how it makes us feel really good and gives us that boost when we know that we're helping out with others. At Central, our tagline is Central to Summit, and so we have lots of ways that you can help out. One of the ways that people are helping is by helping Family Promise. Normally, right here in our sanctuary, during Family Promise hosting, these cubbies are filled with families and toys and eating and fun as we host our Family Promise guests. And of course, right now, it's a very quiet auditorium because our Family Promise guests are all safely in temporary housing. In order to support the guests at this time, we're still collecting food and gift cards. So if you'd like to be a part of that, you can sign up at the Sign Up Genius. There's a link to that right here on our screen, or you can check it out through our website. We also are encouraging everyone, if you're making masks, if you're donating to Flag, if you are bringing groceries to a neighbor, to let us know about that. We want to encourage each other in service. And finally, another organization that we are constantly trying to help out and care for are the Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry. And you can still make donations there. We have ways to donate right on our website, and also to Bridges Outreach. Right now, we especially need to keep in mind those who are in the greatest need, who are most vulnerable in our community. Thank you so much for helping out and for connecting to help take care of everyone during this difficult time.
Lord, you spoke those words. You spoke so tenderly, and now I choose to believe you love me, you love me, you love me. Lord, you spoke those words. You spoke so tenderly, and now I choose to believe you love me, you love me, you love me. You're taking me by the hand again, give me the strength to dance again, 'cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Taking me by the hand again, give me the strength to dance again, 'cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. When my heart is frail, when I'm incomplete, I will choose to receive. You love me, you love me, you love me. You're taking me by the hand again, give me the strength to dance again, 'cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Taking me by the hand again, give me the strength to dance again, 'cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You're taking me by the hand again, give me the strength to dance again, 'cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Lord, you spoke those words. You spoke so tenderly, and now I choose to believe you love me, you love me.